Hello there, you absolute legends. Emma McElhinney here with Piss Off Perimenopause and the musings of a bullshit queenager. I am here to ruin your misconceptions about perimenopause, fat loss, and kick midlife in the face. So if you think your 40s are a drag, think again. Because every week I am going to be stripping down the myths about perimenopause. I'm serving you raw, unfiltered truths about your health and smashing misconceptions about fat loss. And a whole lot more. So if you thought you knew midlife, you don't know the half of it. Aging is inevitable, but getting old is a choice. So buckle up, grab a glass of something yummy, and let's get to it. Hello and welcome to the next episode of Piss Off Perimenopause and the musings of a bullshit queenager. How are you? I hope you're good. Today we have a very special guest, a guest I really love and have got so much respect for. And I'm going to tell you, well, she's going to tell you all about herself in a little minute. But before we go into the episode today, I want to do a little reminder to, you might, if you hear me speak anywhere, it's all about the algorithm. So could you please, whatever platform you're listening to this on, like, subscribe, share, comment, send me money, whatever you want to do, just do something, because what that then does is the algorithm, or the algo as it's called by the cool kids, then starts sending the stuff to other people, and then they listen, and then we all become famous, and it's all good. The end goal is not to become famous, but I do want more people to hear the good stuff that we've got to share, like we have from the lovely Alanna Goddard today. So I'm going to do my bit, and then I'm going to hand over to Alanna. So I've known Alanna for 6 months-ish. And we met in a very roundabout kind of a way. And now we work quite closely on various things. But Alanna is a mind, body, and wellness coach. And she has a specific interest in relationship with food and relationship with yourself and healing those types of things. So I'm going to hand over to Alanna and just ask her to tell us a little bit about herself and why she does what she does. And then she's going to share some of her easiest and most successful ways of beginning to heal your relationship with food and or with yourself. And this is important because most of you listening to this are likely to be in your late 30s through to kind of mid-50s. It's piss off perimenopause after all. And our generation grew up in a very fucked up time with food. We were the era that had margarine, sugar-free, fat-free, sugar-filled, chemical-filled foods. We were the generation that started getting a lot of ultra-processed foods, and we were the first generation of extreme dieting behavior. And for a lot of my clients, certainly, a lot of that culture has seeped into their relationship with food. So different generations have different problems and challenges with the relationship with food. Younger generations have been grown up in the social media era where perfection filters are rife. Luckily, we never have filters, but we did have Kate Moss that said nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. And we also had heroin chic. So we all had to be deemed super skinny. Alana's a lot younger than most of us people. And you can tell if you're watching this on YouTube, you're like, oh yes.
I'm getting there.
Right, Alanna, could I just tell us a little bit about you and how you came along this journey yourself?
Yeah, certainly. So hello to everyone that's listening, and thanks, Emma. My name's Alanna, and I was born and raised in the Highlands of Scotland, so I live in Inverness. So I've lived here all my life, and I had no idea I would be where I am today. Years ago, never even, when you look back and you think, how did I get where I am? Didn't think it would be here. Anyway, here we are. So when I was 19, I joined the police and I got posted over to Stornoway in the Outer Hebrides, which was traumatic in itself because I didn't know anyone. And yeah, it was learning a whole new job at such a young age while moving away from home. So that was quite hard to deal with and didn't know anyone. So kind of a watered down version, because if not, I would be here all day talking about it. But I didn't know anyone. So I entered a running race, really won it. got into the running club, and therein lies my kind of passion for running began. So I would say I've always had an interest in sort of nutrition and being healthy, and even when I was younger, I've always been active. So I've naturally enjoyed sports, going to the gym, keeping fit, being outdoors. And then I was unfortunately involved in quite a traumatic incident in 2016 when I was 23, and myself and my colleague were quite badly assaulted while we were on duty. And kind of from there, or certainly the work that I have done to kind of understand my journey, that's when I kind of developed, I would say. I think even when I was younger, I had always been aware, like you mentioned, with like diet culture and things that have been said to us and this desire wanting to be thin. So I think I've always been aware of shape, especially from a young age, because I did gymnastics and I had, that kind of being aware of your body and wearing leotards and stuff, but it was never anything that kind of took over my life.
Yeah.
But I would say from the incident where we were assaulted, and I think being so out of control in that situation, everything from that day, I just meticulously just started controlling. So what can we control? Food or exercise. And unfortunately for me, it led to the loss of my period. So I suffered with hypothalamic amenorrhea, so not formerly known as HA. I lost my period for 5 years, and that essentially just it took over my life. If I'm honest, I became obsessed with tracking my calories, and obviously tracking calories is, it's not inherently good or inherently bad. It's a tool that can help people obviously with specific goals that they have. But certainly for me, I developed an eating disorder. So I had anorexia and orthorexia. And for those that don't know what they are, they're two different types of eating disorders. So anorexia, formerly known for people who are terrified of putting on weight. They're scared of getting fat, and they try and keep their number to a really, really low weight. And orthorexia is not as well known. And essentially what that is you become obsessed with eating sort of clean and pure food. So anything that I would have deemed back then when I didn't have a good relationship with food, I would have deemed food as good and bad. So foods that I would have typically not eaten were more processed foods, more sugary foods. So I just completely avoided them out of my diet. And unfortunately for me, I started exercising more. I wasn't fueling my body enough. As I say, I lost my period, and I really was not in a good place mentally, physically. So from there, I carried on. I don't know how I managed to do.
I'll just stop you there. Saying now, I don't have the technical capability to show you this, but I've actually seen a picture of Alanna at that stage, and just the physical frailty, I suppose, is the best word, is just like now that I know her and see her in inverted commas real life over Zoom.
Yeah.
Because I don't travel to Inverness. Is just honestly, it's absolutely jaw falling openness.
Yeah. And the scary thing is when I was going through, I would say my darkest time, and I mean, I'll be 32 next month, so I'm not, it's not been that long since I was going through all of that. But looking back, when I was going through the midst of all of that, I did not see, like, obviously, like you had mentioned, you could see you could tell when you were looking at me that I wasn't well. And obviously, not everybody who has an eating disorder, you can tell. Like, some people can have an eating disorder and they can be in a normal size. You can't always tell if someone has one. But for me, because obviously I had anorexia, you could physically see in me, but I didn't see. It's only now that I am well and I'm at a healthy weight, have a good relationship with food in my body and exercise. It's only now looking back, I then realize what everybody else saw, and what's so scary is when I was going through that, I didn't see that.
Yeah. And that's quite common, isn't it? It's like and this is what I've seen, this is what I'll continue to do. But for you, what was the trigger to start getting well again?
I had no life. To be quite honest, it took over my life. I couldn't go simple things that people would do every day. I thought about food 24/7. If it wasn't what I'd eaten, what I was going to eat, planning it. My exercise, I couldn't take a day off. I would feel guilty if I relaxed. So if you think about it on a day-to-day basis, you have to eat, and obviously people exercise to keep well. I obviously took it to the extreme, not on purpose. That it just took over my life. I couldn't go to social occasions without worrying about what I was going to eat, how I would fit it in my day. I would feel really uneasy if I was going somewhere like on holiday. When I went to America, I think I paid an extra like £500-600 to make sure the hotel had a gym. Just little things like that. I honestly just felt it just took over my life, and I was exhausted, if I'm honest. I was like that for years, and I just got to a point where my health wasn't good. As I say, I hadn't had a period in 5 years. I wasn't able to do my job. I think I was off for about 6 or 7 months trying to come to terms with everything because I was in denial in that stage. And if I'm honest, I actually didn't believe that I would be able to be what I am today. Like, I didn't believe it. I genuinely believed that that was my life and that was the way my life was, because that's the only way I could think. And when you believe something and when you're doing something every single day, it's really hard to think life is going to be different because that is what you know it to be.
Yeah.
So, in a nutshell, it took over my life and I just felt like I had no life anymore.
Okay. So I don't want you to go into like the details of everything that you had to go through to start that journey of healing, because it's such a
Yeah,
personal
sure.
thing that, that's for you, and I'm so glad that you did do that. What then did that do for you though? Like, how did that change things for you and then loop it back into where you are now and doing what you do now?
I think I'm naturally quite a driven person. So when I finally accepted that I didn't want to be where I was anymore and I knew I had to make a change, it was then obviously coming home, going into therapy for 2 years, having to do a variety of different things, being exposed to mindfulness, just I think really working on myself to unlearn all the things that I had either believed or conditioned myself to think were right. And I just think coming through all of that, I think when you've gone through something, you develop a passion in wanting to help other people in terms of improving their health. Because now, it's only been the last few couple of years that I've started being a health coach. And I think I just really wanted to help other people. Like, I think coming through that, and it started with I wanted to become an ambassador for BEAT, which is the eating disorder. Sorry, let me rephrase. The UK's eating disorder charity. So it's the organization. And I really wanted to be an ambassador for them to start helping other people who had a disordered eating or eating disorders. And when I first applied, I never got in, and I was so raging because I was like, this is what I want to do. But at that time, looking back, I was not ready for to be an ambassador and to actually help people because I was still recovering myself.
Yeah.
And then when I applied the following year, I got in, which was great. And then I got to be exposed to doing talks to parents and carers of loved ones who had either had, children or whatever, if they were caring for somebody that had an eating disorder, and doing talks or being a befriender. So somebody, your name would obviously be anonymous, and you could support someone else who was going through an eating disorder. And I think because I've been through that journey, I completely understand. And it's the same thing, if people are in maybe a larger body, like irrespective of the size, like I know what it feels like to not be happy in yourself. And I think just all of that together just gave me this passion to just like, I really want to do something. And I came across this idea of being a health coach. And I was like, when you read a job description and you're like, yes, I want to be that. Yes, 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 yes. And I just was like, that's what I want to be. Like empowering people to make good, like change their behaviors, mindset work, help them live a healthier life. I was like, oh my God, I want to do that. So, and that's kind of what started my health coaching, I guess.
It is amazing, and it's so funny because every single health coach that I've ever met, and I would actually wager that this is true for every single health coach, is that they have come through something that they've either come through it and changed their life, and they now want to help other people do the same. I've never met a health coach in any area that says, oh, I want to be this because I want to earn loads of money. It's always a personal story. And
Mhm.
it's so important because it really helps you then connect with other people that are further down the line than where you are now. Um, and I think from like the conversations that we've had, like it's so refreshing. Like health coaching can be really dry, and it can be
Mhm.
really quite boring at times when you see, oh, here's 3 ways of getting more protein in, like, Oh my God, shoot me in the face. It's so, so
Yeah.
boring. But when people, everybody loves a story. Like everybody loves hearing about other people. And when people hear, like you are so inspiring, listening to your story and knowing the journey and seeing the pictures is just like, holy crap, you went through all that. And now, not only like Alanna still works full time and is doing her coaching business um on the side, it's just like, it's just so incredible. And that's just the passion that you have for what it is that you're doing.
Mhm.
Um, so now, like you're working with people that, want to change their relationship with food, they want to change their relationship with their body. So
Yeah.
what would be, if you could give your best, obviously you're not going to do a full-on coaching session with me just now because I've got a fairly healthy relationship with food, although I did eat a Magnum almond earlier. Um,
Oh, yum.
and I did on the, I've not had an ice cream for a long time. And I
You go,
did
girl.
It was on the it's never warm enough here. On the counter, it did display the calories, and I looked at it and went, that's 250 calories in that ice cream. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna eat it. So
Gonna
like, and
have it.
that's an ideal place to be though, is like
Yeah.
understand that, and there's a whole big cultural piece of it should be displaying calories and what benefit does that have. But when you truly understand food and how it works for you rather than working against you, it
Yeah.
gives you that kind of sense of freedom to say yes or no. And we both come at like I'm not a relationship with food coach, it is an element of what we do.
Yeah.
Um, but it is all part of that journey about not making food the enemy, not being bad or good, not saying that you're falling off the wagon or you're back on the wagon because there is no fucking wagon. It's not
Yeah.
Eastwood movie. Um, so yeah, go ahead and give us your top suggestions of how people can start working on themselves and their relationship with food.
Yeah, sure. So I think everybody, probably to an extent, have beliefs or thoughts around either food, their body, or whatever it is. So I think one of the first things to be, to kind of look at would probably be like identifying what kind of rules, or if that's in relation to food or your body, like kind of identifying them and almost challenging them, because they will maybe feel real to you, but there will be a lot of things that you believe that may either be causing you harm or be causing you guilt and anxiety, or might be leading you to binge eating, or just developing that unhealthy relationship with food in your body. So I think the first thing, just sort of recognizing, what rules have you maybe been following, kind of questioning them, and kind of looking at where that rule or belief has come from. Is it scientifically true? Have you picked it up from someone else in the office who's been saying, or who bashes carbs, which usually happens, or someone who says, I can't eat carbs, they're really
No
bad.
carbs before marbs.
Yeah, like that is something I used to be terrified of eating carbohydrates. And when you, like you said, Emma, when you understand the education around them, and that is just so empowering. So I think first and foremost, identifying maybe what rules or beliefs that you have around food in your body and kind of gauging if they're true, and, allowing yourself to have all foods without guilt, because that will also help to develop a good relationship with food. If you're categorizing food into like good or bad, or shouldn't have that, or oh, I feel guilty for that, that all really does not help having a good relationship with food. So I think first and foremost, identifying and maybe challenging any food rules that you have would
My
be.
famous ones for challenging are from the Slimming World and Weight Watchers culture of Slimming World of free foods. And you can eat all of these foods unlimited because they'll just keep you full and you'll not gain any weight. And that was one of my triggers, was when they said, oh, well, you can have all you want to eat pasta and potatoes and rice, but you
Yeah.
won't want to like that. Watch me. Like, I am a hungry girl. I like my food and I like pasta, rice, and potatoes. And then when I gained half a stone in a week, and I was like, but you told me this is free foods. So
Yeah.
that was my, that can't be true
Yeah.
moment, that what led me into mine. And the other one, I don't know if you remember this, but a few years back in the Weight Watchers world, and you could have a can or two cans of Copperberg cider, like fruity cider, which we all know is horrifically calorific and really overly sweet. I don't like it. But that had less points than half an avocado. And it was things like you could have a four-fingered Kit Kat for less points than having a banana. It was like ridiculous, ridiculous things. And I think they changed theirs to reflect like the nutrient value of a food, not just the calorie number. Because you're like, you
Yeah,
cannot possibly tell me that knocking back two massive cans of Kopparberg summer fruit cider is better for me from a weight point of view than half an avocado. Getting the seed.
100%. And I think like you know, it's even thinking of it like it's completely different. Like some people can look at it who are counting calories and think, oh, I can have that because it's only X amount of calories, where I understand that, but I also come from it from a health point of view because I think, yeah, that's fine. It depends in relation to your goal, but the avocado has got so much nutrition in it, whereas the Copperberg has nothing. You know, it's just it maybe tastes
I'm
good,
trying to think. It
but
doesn't even taste good. It's very sweet.
yeah.
To be fair, my cider era was several decades ago. And even back in those good old days of my cider era, we didn't even have flavored vodka. That's how old, how many years ago my cider drinking era was. Right, so that's a good one. So if you are going to sit and reflect on some of the beliefs that you have about food, these are not all going to be your beliefs. So this is not a blame thing. This is all the things that we've picked up over the years from different people, from different organizations, from different fads. So this is not well, your belief is wrong. It's just what we've absorbed. Most of our beliefs are formed before we're 7 years old. So you will, if you've got women in your family, you would have been overhearing things like, that's bad, can't have that, I'm on a diet, da, da, da. I'm being good today, so I can't have that. So just sit on that one. Right, let's go. Number two.
I also want to add to that actually that you said I was over at my granny's the other day and bless her, she's got dementia, but I was making her dinner for her and she's like, I'll just have one egg. And I'm like, do you not want two? And she's like, oh no. I was like, Gran, I had four eggs for my breakfast. And she's like, oh, Lana, that's not good for you. And I'm like, how not? It's just that education, isn't it? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, Gran.
Oh yeah, because what's her face? Edwina Currie, who is an infamous Tory politician, told us all that too many eggs were going to give us salmonella, which was as zero evidence in that at all, zero evidence. And even now, I get people asking me, "Well, how many eggs is too many?" I'm like, "Well, I actually eat a shit ton of eggs, so I hope none."
Yeah,
But we're going to be fine with eggs.
same.
Eggs are good. Nature's
Love an
superfoods.
egg.
Love an
Love
egg.
an egg. Every
Right.
morning.
So there you go. Your summary notes from today's podcast is how to heal your relationship with food by eating eggs. That's and not drinking cider. There you go. Sorted you.
Yeah, all of it.
Oh dear. Right. Let's give us your second one.
Second one would be so breaking free from this all or nothing thinking. So that's like that typical everything is all or nothing, the kind of mindset, and quite a lot of people struggle with this. So this can sometimes not help people. This can sometimes have, what am I trying to say? It can allow people to lead to overeat because they think a classic example would be, you know, I'm only going to have maybe two biscuits and then they eat half the packet and they think, packet, I've eaten however many, I'm just going to start again, whatever. And it's that kind of all or nothing black and white thinking. And it's almost to try and break free from that. That can really help you have a good relationship with food because it's, yeah, and it is very, very common with people. So
Oh
I've
yes. So
worked,
99.9% of my clients, this is their number one challenge, and a lot of it is I work with a lot of people who are for perfectionists and people that are
yeah,
used to managing multiple responsibilities. So they're managing a home, a family, a husband, a kid, dogs, careers, businesses, and it's part and parcel. They're used to doing a lot of shit. So when it
yeah,
comes to their food, they're like, I can control this by being
yeah,
very, very good and ultimately under eating. And there is so many facets to all or nothing, isn't there? There's so many
yeah,
like some elements of it is you're actually hungry and your body is craving nourishment. So that's why you go off in this binge path. Some
yeah,
of it is habit, some of it is this belief that we are not able to stick to something consistently. So we self-sabotage in order to continue our story of I can't do this, I'm a failure. So many facets, but yeah, huge. You could actually do an entire book on just that.
I know. And it's the same thing. Like there's an analogy. is it like it's called the flat tire analogy, and it's basically like if you were driving along and one of your car tires burst, would you get out and
And
slash all
shoot
three of them?
I know, shoot the rest of the tires.
Or would you fix it and move on? And it's the same thing. Like people will say, oh, I don't have an hour to go to the gym. I'm not going to bother. It's like, can you find 5 minutes? It doesn't just have to be the food. It's the all or nothing thinking with, even their body. Even it can be, all of these areas. But there's just, like you say, you do a whole podcast on that. But I think
I've done about 3 different episodes on All or Nothing.
yeah, if you can become aware of these kind of thoughts that you're thinking, and it's that awareness, because if you're aware of something, you're able to do something about it. So yeah, that would definitely be a massive one.
Cool. Right. Okay, let's go with number. I've got an idea, by the way. So we're going to do a third one, and then I'll tell you more. Right. Let's go.
And I think one of my main ones I would say is creating a really nourishing routine with your food. So what I mean by that is, and what you mentioned earlier, if you are not keeping yourself regularly stable, if your energy levels are not stable, so if you allow yourself to become really, really hungry by thinking, great, I'm not going to eat, but then if you allow yourself to get really, really ravenously hungry, then you're more likely to then swing on the other end of the pendulum and be like, I'm going to eat everything in sight. And then you overeat and then you feel guilty, that kind of binge restrict cycle. So if you can create a really solid routine with your food, getting that regularity in, having your meals that are very balanced, that is going to help not only your physiology, also the way that you feel, your energy, your mood, and it will really just help foster a more positive relationship with food rather than swinging to both ends of the pendulum, either overeating or not eating enough and becoming really hungry and then swinging right round. It's having a really good routine, whether that's a breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a snack, whatever that looks like for you, depending on your goals or what you want. But I would say definitely having a really, really good balanced routine with your food.
Yes. Yes, that's a big one. And that will help like for people of like the perimenopause era, we do find energy slumps to be more apparent. And one of the ways of mitigating against that is the idea of a balanced plate. So eating, like if you just ate something really carby, so say you just had a bowl of cornflakes for your breakfast, you are really going to notice your energy going
Yeah.
plummeting in the later morning and afternoon. But if you had something with protein, carbs, and some good quality fats, like an avocado, not like a can of Copperberg, you are going to feel you're not going to get massive spikes and dips of your blood sugar levels, and you're just going to feel a lot nicer. I suspect that's why I've felt really, really tired. Not the fact that I've not hydrated enough and sat in the sun for a lot of the day. I've had a typically carbier than normal day today, and I really notice it. Alana's actually got more tips that she can give you, but she's going to share her link to her ebook about it, and we're going to put that in the show notes for you because it's absolutely gold. So that's your 3 teasers. You can't see me. I don't even know what I'm doing. That's your 3 teasers. And if you want to get the rest of Alana's How to Heal Your Relationship with Food ebook, you can get that by accessing the link from the show notes on whatever platform you are listening to. What's next for you, Lana? Are you still doing masterclasses?
Yes, so I got really good feedback on the masterclass that I did. Was that earlier this month, the start of March, actually, I think it was.
Yeah.
God, the days all just blend into one. But yeah, I got really, really good feedback. And I think, as nerve-wracking it sometimes is, like coming on and doing it, but I really loved it and I got really great feedback. So if anyone has any suggestions on topics that they would like to hear more of, because it's definitely something that I'm going to be doing more of, please either send them to Emma or myself, because I would love to create more content that's actually going to add value and that will help people rather than just creating things that's a bit like, oh yeah, whatever. I'd rather have it have a meaning. When you see some things and you think people just post for the reason, I'm like, oh, I overthink, but I'm like, I just really want this to add value to someone. I want them to read it and feel empowered and be like, yes,
I can do something. Yeah, that's half the battle, isn't it? Because I think there's so much in the nutrition space, in the female health space, there is so much shame. And people there's so many coaches that go about it from I'm going to beat you over the head with all this information and you're going to feel like a failure because you're not like me. And that's been the case for probably since the dawn of internets, to be honest. And there's so many good people out there like yourself like me, I'm going to blow my own trumpet, who are more about, look, you don't have to live life like this the way you are. Like there is a way of changing, and it doesn't have to be this really hard, restrictive, boring, can't do anything ever again. I mean, that's the whole, like one of your reasons why that you wanted to change was about finding freedom
Yeah.
in life, not just food freedom, but freedom to have a good time, freedom to be able to go on holiday and not have to be around near a gym, a 10 minutes radius of a gym, and be able to eat proper foods,
Yeah.
and not feel like you're punishing yourself. So yes, that's the goal for us all, actually. Empowerment. Any final words? Where can we find you? What's your Instagram?
You can find me on at ag.health. And yeah, that's where I mostly post all my content. I have Facebook, but everything that gets posted on
She's
Instagram
rubbish on Facebook.
goes to Facebook, guys. So if you are
She's rubbish on Facebook. Don't go to her Facebook page.
If
She's
you're-
young. She's younger. She doesn't use Facebook. It's only us old bastards that use Facebook.
if you are looking to find me, I am on Instagram. So at ag.health is where
And that is the name of her program, the AG Health Method. It is absolutely amazing. I have checked it over and it is really good. Really good. So if you want more information on the AG Health Method, or you want to, I'll put our Instagram handle in the show notes, and I'll also put the link to her download as well, so that you can access that as well. It's really good. Really good. Any final inspirational words? I should have primed you for that one and got you some.
I think what I would probably just say is that if you are someone who's maybe going through a bit of journey yourself and you're maybe feeling a bit alone with things, like you're not alone, and to know that if you're someone who's really unhappy with the way your life is, or like me, if you feel that, if you truly believe and you think, oh, this is just my life, like believe that you can change your life. It takes dedication. It does take time, but you can change your life. And I know that because I've changed mine. So yeah.
Enough, my inspirational quote can be seen. Everything you can imagine it is possible. Yeah, and I'm actually going to be probably a little bit more blunt than Alanna there. See, if you don't believe you can change, if you are really, really stuck, you're going to find it really hard. So part of that process is reframing your beliefs, and sometimes you have to fake it until you make it. So if you do want to change, but you're kind of stuck and you're using words like I'm stuck and I'm struggling, change words like that to I'm frustrated instead of saying stuck. Because if you tell yourself you're stuck, you're going to stay stuck. A lot of S's in there for somebody with a bit of a lisp. But if you say that you're frustrated, it gives you that kind of like, well, frustration's not that bad. I can maybe start overcoming that. But if you want something different, you have to do something different.
Yeah. What is it, that quote that they say insanity is like doing the same thing and expecting a different result?
Yes.
Like it's so true.
And that is what you see when we have all or nothing clients and friends. We say, I'm on a diet and I can only eat this like quinoa coated chia seed pudding. Like, get in the sea, go in the sea. Okay, right. I don't think I've got any. Remember the like, share, and comment, and whatever the other ones were. That would be really helpful. And go ahead and download Alanna's stuff. And you can get in touch with me if you've got any questions about anything, really. I'm a bit of a fan of skincare right now. If you want to talk to me about skincare, makeup, I'm always quite good at. Food, I'm quite good at food, exercise, and mindset related topics too. And gardening, I've been out in my garden. I did some weeding. That was boring. Anyway, right. Thanks ever so much for listening, everyone. Speak to you in the next one. Bye. And just like that, we have spiced up another episode of Piss Off Perimenopause and the Musings of a Bullshit Queenager. Massive shout out and a huge thank you for hanging out with me today. I really hope you've been entertained. And remember, don't be shy, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, keep those heels high and standards higher. Remember, it's all about glowing, growing, and downright owning it. So catch you on the flip side, and don't forget to click the link in the show notes to get your freebie.